This man's name is one. He is one of the most extravagant tycoons on earth, most certainly not Elon Musk. He essentially brought in his cash from living his experience growing up dream, which is designing neodymium magnets, a piece of logical work the world has never seen before. Okay, one doesn't cherish foul play. He needed to resemble the Batman and Equity Association. He loves to help individuals, as he feels that activity expresses stronger than words. Talking without really making moves isn't simply worth the effort. So with the honor of being an extremely rich person, one chooses to counterfeit his own passing and structure an unknown gathering, which was very much like the Vindicators, yet without superpowers. This gathering would assist in bringing down despots and terrible individuals from various nations with peopling that the world couldn't contact. We should jump straight into the story. Don't contact the leave button until you watch to the end. Sit back, unwind, and partake in the video. Prevalently known as Ryan Reynolds and secretly known as one in this American vigilante activity thrill ride called 6 Underground, he enlists a group of 5 individuals, including him. He gives them a numbered epithet, very much like him. These individuals have no past and are viewed as dead, so that implies they counterfeit their own demise and chose to function as phantoms after they had gone to cross-examine the legal counselor of a dictator in Florence, Italy. They are being sought after by shooters with weighty firearm influence. 2 who was a government agent had been shot through a window while she was attempting to get away from him. 5 who was truly a specialist should be visible attempting to work on 2's weapon twisted while the team wearing a hot vehicle pursue. In the meantime, 6 is an exceptionally talented driver. He sidesteps the shooter, prompting a ton of auto collisions. While they are being sought after by a motorcyclist, 2 chooses to move forward for the group by discharging at the rider while she was as yet harmed. As the pursuit turns out to be so extraordinary, 1 mentioned that 4 assistants out for 1 more individual from the vigilante team is a Skywalker who was fundamentally great at running past structures. He helped in taking out certain shooters in the most shocking manner. 1 who had scooped out the eyes of the attorney then utilizes his eyeballs to open the transmission between their main objective Violate and his 4 commanders. Number 3 who was a contract killer then, at that point, assisted 4 in bringing down the excess shooter, yet in the process 6, the quick and irate driver, wound up dead in the most ruthless manner. This made the group crushed. They enveloped up his body by a profound second. They threw him into the sea. No one didn't know anything around 6, as cozy associations with every individuals was prohibited. It was more awful till the degree that they didn't have a clue about one another's name. 1 liked it as such. He resembled the teacher of 6 capable vigilantes, that this time around they weren't burglarizing banks yet battling for the reason for individuals in their monikers depended on numbers. 1 then lets the gathering know that they needed to find a number 7 to supplant 6, the Dark Man. The film then changes to Hawk Trooper on a mission in Afghanistan. Blaine is truly a sharpshooter man from the Delta Power on a messed up mission in Afghanistan. Blaine saw his entire group bite the dust. He got the opportunity to save his partners by making an effort, but since of the orders from higher specialists he didn't shoot. This occasion made Blaine live with culpability until the end of his tactical life. While Blaine was contemplating his colleagues in the effed up mission in Afghanistan, 1 came to him. He lets him know that he would have requested him to pull the trigger. He offers Blaine a chance to battle elite detestable pioneers. He welcomes him to the team as number 7. Blaine, who needed to make up for himself, then acknowledges the proposition. Blaine faked his passing. A befitting entombment with military paparazzi was directed to pay tribute to the warrior. Blaine had the option to observe his own entombment as his sibling cried wildly. 1 acquaints 7 with the group. He briefs him on the vision of the team, saying their goal is to bring down world pioneers who were terrible. He reminds 7 that he is dead, so he will be confined from visiting specific urban communities. In any relationship with his friends and family must be removed. 1 then enlightens the group regarding their next mission and number 1 objective Violate Efimov, a Turkestan tyrant who regarded his kin as slaves. The group then, at that point, examined about the upsides of being dead, however not dead, like not paying charges, no lawbreaker records, and double-crossing sweethearts. 1 contributed saying the main part of being dead but still alive is the opportunity. He then educates them concerning the overthrow he is wanting to organize on Violate. The congregation stand despot upon the arrival of the dead. He lets them know that they needed to take out his 4 commanders, which will wreck his day since they are the most influential individuals near him. Then they need to free Rodika's vote-based system adoring sibling who was kept prisoner. Then, at that point, at long last hit Violate and carry back harmony to the country. It would not have been a simple mission, yet with the assistance of 1's neodymium micromagnets creation they could presumably get through. Blaine then, at that point, asks to find out about Rodika Storiso. The film returns us to when everything began. Interactant individuals were escaping the country due to Rodika's tactical rule. Violate is so brutal to his kin he brings down any individual who attempted to oppose him. 1 who was as yet a humanitarian around then visited the Turkestan boundary to do his benevolent acts on the harmed and 6 residents, yet he was simply doing it for the papers and not really from his heart, similarly as he is attempting to give for the reason for the Turkestan public violate sent off an airstrike on the boundary, bringing down such countless individuals, youthful and old, as one observed such countless vulnerable individuals bite the dust the day he chose to have a shift in perspective and truly set his benevolent acts in motion. He chose to be a decent Jeffrey Dahmer and structure the mysterious vigilante bunch that will bring down this despot chiefs unequivocally. It is accepted that Rodika's way of thinking is to utilize his ability to convey resolve and motivate dread to his foes. One gets together with Violate after a phase show connecting with despots. He lets him know that regardless of how a despot acts, equity would have been filled in as exhibited in the drama they had recently seen. Violate lets him know that legends generally win in dramas and show, yet it doesn't work that way. In actuality, one attaches with a young lady he met at the drama and out of nowhere fostered a close to home association with her, had intercourse with her, and afterward ghosted. The film then changes to the current day. Number 4 uncovers to 7 on how Murat Rodika's sibling was detained. He tells 7 that number 2 was truly working for Violate before she was enlisted. She had truly trapped Murat while he was attempting to get away from. She caught him and afterward detained him, so a piece of their main goal is to save Murat from jail in spite of the fact that he isn't a holy person, yet he is as yet sensible. Back to the current day, the most dreaded tyrant Violate then arranged his 4 commanders to head toward Las Vegas, where they will get together with Victor the arms seller. He advises them to have a great time and become inebriated after they had finished the mission. One then, at that point, illuminates the group that they will be heading toward Las Vegas to bring down the 4 commanders. He lets them know that they must be cautious since Las Vegas has more facial acknowledgement programming than any place on the planet, so they expected to pick their camouflages shrewdly, be unpretentious and mix in at Vegas. After the commanders had closed the arms business with Victor, they chose to have a great time in an in-party with young ladies and get squandered. Well, they were truly squandered, yet in a not so great kind of way. Number 2 and 3 had the most horrendously terrible mask as they dressed as tennis players in perhaps of the greatest occasion. Working in Vegas, they head toward the room the commanders had held up. They shot one of them who came to look through the entryway. After he heard a thump, they shot the leftover 2 in the most surprising manner at any point. Then, at that point, continued to the next room where the overall, who had some awareness of the area of Murat, was having intercourse with one of the young ladies. They held him at gunpoint and afterward requested for the area of Murat. After he had uncovered the area, he was shot in the head and passed on while he was still inside a lady. A pleasurable demise. One then, at that point, censured their masks, saying they dress like jokesters, disregarding his own Vegas biker ensemble. After the ridiculous occasion, 2 and 3 then worked up a profound association as they engaged in sexual relations together. The following morning, 3 tells 2 that he needed to head off to some place and expected to address someone. He headed toward a clinic to see his mother, who was experiencing loss of memory. He enlightens her concerning the mission and how he planned to take out miscreants so he can eradicate his terrible past and compose another one. Yet his mom wasn't satisfied with him, as she labeled him a killer for what he did in the Beyond. 3, initially known as Side Interest, once worked for a mafia fellow named Diego. At one mission he killed a young lady's dad and unexpectedly created responsibility towards his activities, which made him quit working for Diego soon thereafter, as he was tied in with leaving. One surprised him like Bruce Wayne would do to wrongdoers in Gotham. He puts a weapon to his head and cautions him that he shouldn't relate with anybody or have a say in him. He lets him know that they had forfeited everything for this mission, so he needs to regard it at Turkestan. An enraged Violate then tended to his man on the killing of his commanders, since he needed to supplant the commanders. He got down on 4 others who were next, however at that point loses them the structure, saying it wouldn't be savvy to believe the individuals who stood the most to profit from the passing of the officers, so he selected new individuals as commanders. In the meantime, as the group plans to travel to Hong Kong so they can safeguard Murat, 4 described to the group on how he was enrolled by one during a bombed mission. It was uncovered that one could do without the word family, so assuming you were at any point loaded up on a mission, he won't return for you. In the following scene, Violate goes to visit his sibling in Hong Kong. He inquires as to whether he has much insight into the assault on his officers, yet Murat claims not to realize anything. Violate then lets Murat know that this assaults on his commanders will just build the power of his strikes. He tells Violate that he would be returning to Turkestan and he had given to Kick a strong protector severe orders to hurt Murat, assuming that anything happens to him. One briefs the group on the mission. It will be a penthouse extraction, as they will safeguard Murat from his jail. They plan to involve the Cranes as the marksman's home for 7 and afterward a hybrid to escape from the penthouse. Upon the arrival of the mission, 2 and 3 showed up in a Ferrari with covers on, while 4 utilized a zipline to move over to the penthouse. 7 got his situation on the crane while 5 sits tight beyond the structure for the escape plan. As 2 and 3 got inside the structure, they delivered snickering gas in the air as they brought down safety officers. While on the mission, 3 then started Playing with two, it is then uncovered that he had lost one of his veil seals, so the giggling gas impacted him. He was nearly killed by 7 for picking a faux firearm. However, he was fortunate that his veil is really unbeatable. Portage brings down the men's shielding Murat as he continues to protect him on out. They were confronted with such countless men which shouldn't have occurred as per the arrangement. 7 then, at that point, advises them to take hold of something. He takes shots at the pool's glass as the water floods the entire structure, clearing out Rodika's men. The group figured out how to evade utilizing the zipline, yet 4 couldn't make it out on time as he was confronted with to kick Rodika's guardian. 1 needed to stay with his way of thinking by leaving 4 on the mission, yet in a profound scene 7 halted him, saying he is at no point ever going to abandon his colleague in the future. He gets out of the vehicle position, his expert rifleman, and afterward fires to kick, thus saving for the following day. After they had finished the mission, 7 got into a contention with 1, lets him know that the mission is a higher priority than the man, yet 7 wasn't prepared to buy into that way of thinking, so he lets the group know that he is Blaine and he doesn't abandon a fighter. The group then let each know other their names as they reinforced as they showed up to Justin. 1 then, at that point, hacked the state TV as Violate was preparing to address the public, thus giving Murat the floor to teach a vote-based system which propelled individuals and prompted a transformation. This revolt and mob then, at that point, made Violate departure to his confidential match. The group then showed up at the confidential clump. They set up their situations as 2 and 3 fends off Wanderer enchanted men. 1 enacts his attractive development which took out larger part of the gatekeepers. The Phantom group then went after Rodika's men with the assistance of 1's creation. They continued to find Violate, yet in the process the yacht started to sink in light of a blast that happened. 4 who was at the upper deck got no opportunity of getting away in light of the fact that he was encircled by Rodika's men. They needed to seek after Violate, who was attempting to get away or risk the mission by saving 4. It turned into a titanic circumstance, yet 1 had a shift in perspective and continued to save 4. Violate got away from the sinking match involving a bow. As he moved to a helicopter, he finds that it was being directed by Canal. In the apparition group, Violate asks his sibling for kindness, yet he lets him know that it was past the point of no return as his wrongdoings had found him. Violate then requested to bite the dust with pride, yet they dropped him off in a Turkestan evacuee camp where irate residents searched him and afterward pounds the life out of him. After the passing of Violate, Murat was made the new president, while 2 and 3 ignited a relationship. He takes 2 to go see his mom as she embraced him firmly. 4 and 5 hung out getting over mountains, while 1 out of 7 goes to New York City. 1 sees the one who he had imparted a profound association with before he began the vigilante bunch. He watches her from a distance as she heads toward meet her child, which might actually be 1 child. The end. Thank you for watching till this point. You are a legend. Assuming that you love contents like this, kindly leave a like, buy in, and turn on the warning ringer for additional recordings. Farewell till we meet once more.